Hey, what's happening? Thanks for joining me again. Let's dive into OC Poetry content, original poetry, authors, poets getting down, sharing their work through the beauty that is Reddit. Does it get any better than this? And that's a rhetorical question because we definitely know the answer that it does not get better. As always, I am honored to have a few high quality DMs from people who are helping support the channel, helping support me by giving me stuff to talk about, stuff to cover, asking me questions, sharing their work. That's what it's all about, people. Sharing is caring. If you care, hook me up, people. Let's do this. All right. We're going to do a haiku from Covered in Thorns. Now, I'm not a haiku guru. So I don't know. Maybe I wrote one when I was a kid, but I haven't really written them at all. Really, I admire the tradition of Chinese and Japanese poetry a lot. I've had the great privilege of studying in China and traveling in Japan. I've been to Shiseido, the Hall of the Poetry Immortals in Japan. That was a cool trip. So huge love and affection for that tradition. But in terms of my familiarity as a craftsperson myself, I guess I know what I like, but I've never attempted it personally. So I think this is big, popular on. Well, let's read it first. Apple tree, laden apple tree, rustled sweetly by the breeze. Snap of noble fruit. So, I think it's haiku is kind of big popularizer, this big on-ramp, where a lot of people will try them and get addicted to this thing of just cranking these suckers out. And it's fun. It's a cool challenge. It gets a lot of people into it. It's supposed to be image centric. And this poem certainly is. I'm a little lost by what's so particularly noble. What the snap is, or why noble fruit would make that snap, or what noble food is versus ignoble fruit. So is there something in particular that makes the apple kind of the nobility of fruits? And the sweetly there, rustled sweetly by the breeze. So it's kind of overloading. So apples already, we have this expectation of sweetness. Then we get rustled sweetly. So now the breeze is kind of competing with the fruit for sweetness in a sense, in the reader's head. And would be breeze enough to rustle apples? I mean, rustle my jimmies, dare I say? Again, I think one of the challenges is from a haiku is you have to kind of apprehend very quickly and almost instantly as a reader and kind of get this kind of aha moment. And it's really hit or miss. And for me, this just isn't quite achieving that kind of poignant, intense feeling of like, probably I'm just missing some of these clues, particularly noble. The noble, I think, is the clue that's really, really thrown me for a loop here. Thorns. Speaks as kind of a little bit of like a private world that I don't feel included. The poet is alluding to a private idea of what apples might mean. Is this an Adam and Eve thing? I don't know. Okay. Let's move on to my buddy Visceral. He was jumping into the thread, and thanks for jumping into my sticky post, and solid, good to talk with you, Visceral. So always welcome. People want to talk about stuff that's super cool. So right away, Visceral, I think you're going to find that I'm going to be scratching my head a little bit about this, just because we have this opening with very extended line So kind of breaking lineation right away. Already, if you sent this out to a lit mag, the editor is going to say, well, how am I going to format this first line? I'm going to have to break it somewhere. But the poet isn't, because it's not going to fit on the page unbroken. But the poet isn't telling me how they want that formatted. So I guess I just cut it wherever I want. Or do I have to print it on like one long page? I've seen that done, where like they actually print it across 2 pages. So that this poem is kind of asking the reader and whoever, asking the reader or whoever is going to deal with this poem, extraordinary license from the get-go of like, hey, you're going to have to figure out how to format this poem in your mind or whatever. Maybe this poem is only intended to be on Reddit. But even so, I mean, I think like, if I just like resize here, like the poem radically changes. I think it's going to change, potentially where those droplets, it just changes stuff. So that's, I know I sound like, you guys might think I sound crazy, right? Because it's crazy. Like, why is this guy demented? Why doesn't he just read the poem? Because these things matter. That's why, guys. Because lineation is fundamental to the craft. It's fundamental. It's not an accident. It's not an afterthought. The tradition of thousands and thousands of years of poetry demands careful attention to lineation. And when you show the reader from the get-go that you don't have that much interest in the art of lineation, you're going to make them suspicious. Now let's look at this poem. Maybe there's implicit lineation that I'm being too dismissive. It's raining is the first thought I'm caught off guard by. Dangling by is, okay. As hot haze dissolves in cold, wet droplets creeping down my cheeks to wash it away. To wash what away? As hot haze dissolves in cold, wet droplets. Is the hot haze being washed away? Or is the rain being washed away? How long was I holding my breath before I sighed to ruffle the soft silence? It's a great question. I think it's a very interesting question that this line is asking. How long was I holding? So now we know that the speaker of this poem isn't exactly sure what's going on or how long time is passing. That's a key lyric idea. The passage of time is abnormal in the lyric instant. It's raining. Well, you already established that, but now you have this kind of refrain. So you're gonna repeat it's raining. And worlds away, I hear someone so faintly say something, but not what words. Okay. Well, you're not going to tell us the words anyway, so I don't know that you need that last phrase after the comma, but not what words, because you're not telling us the words anyway. Only why all this misty dismay. Okay, so dismay, you're like sticking a label, like a sticky note, like this is what it is, it's dismay. It could be a lot of different things to the reader up to this point. I don't feel that the urgency to clarify and distill down to a single emotion and then tell the reader what that single emotion ought to be when it's such a beautiful day. But you've told us it's raining, so it's conventionally not a beautiful day. So to the speaker, it might be beautiful, but that confuses us because the speaker's mood appears to be dismay, like you just said. So, Visceral. I think there's some good beats here. How long was I holding my breath before I sighed to ruffle the soft silence? So there's a little assonance there with the S sounds here. So that's pleasant, and the rhythm is nice. Even the first sentence, you have to call it a sentence. It's raining is the first thought I'm caught off guard by. I find that is caught off guard by a little bit awkward, but hot haze dissolves in wet droplets creeping down my cheeks. I think that's, there's some good rhythms in there. Tighten it up and give it some lineation. I think we might be off to the races. and avoid instructing the reader, about emotions or kind of signposting the emotions with things like beautiful or dismay. And, I think we could have some promising stuff. All right. Genetic. Rodajan. Rodajan DM'd me, and Rodajan, I think, is, in Eastern Europe. It's kind of just trying to decide, should I post something to the OC or not? And, you guys know how I feel about the OC, which is like, you guys should definitely post up on the OC. So I don't know why people would DM me and be like, I don't know, should I, shouldn't I? It's like, you should. If you don't post it on the OC, I can't cover it in the channel anyway. Okay, Genetic. Oh, Fortune, Bifrons lady. Okay. Although still blindfolded just as yourself. So it's Fortune. Okay, so this is addressing Fortune directly, Fortune. It says Genetic is the title, and then it goes to Fortune, Bifrons. I'm not 100% sure what Bifrons. There's no apostrophe, so it's not possessive. It's not the lady belongs to Bifron. I think Bifron might be some type of demon or devil-y type thing. Although still blindfolded. Okay, Blind Fortune. Okay, that's kind of a cliche, but okay. Just as yourself, I don't understand that. Hear my hopes unfold. Where is here? Where are we? You didn't situate me as a reader. You didn't tell me here we stand before Fortune's court or, in the vast fields of magic land, fantasy, cool demon place. I am about to roll like your wheel. Okay, yeah, so Wheel of Fortune, okay. So it's kind of linking cliche to cliche, right? So just like, well, we'll just connect on cliche. Is that enough, though? I mean, could we go to the mythology? Could we go back to Greek mythology, maybe? Is there a Wheel of Fortune? And there's a TV show, Wheel of... But is there a Greek mythology about the Wheel of Fortune? I don't know. Yeah, I know you can go to a casino. You can spin the wheel. But I actually don't know if there's like a mythological Wheel of Fortune. I think it would be better maybe to try to cohere this together around some central proposition about some type of, rather than just link cliches. Like our ball. What's our ball? Whose ball? Ours? Now Fortune and this speaker are, in cahoots. I beg of thee. So please, guys, don't put thee in poems. I wouldn't even put Fortune, but definitely don't put thee. I beg of thee. I mean, unless you had a very specific reason to do that. It's, are you guys listening to the channel? Do you guys listen to the channel where I say this stuff? Why do I say don't put thee and thou in poems? Because you need to have a really particularly strong, compelling reason to do that. And usually it's going to be humor, right? So it's going to make your poem sound weak, tired, like, I don't know. I mean, just don't do it. How about that? Don't put thee and thou in poems. Neither black nor white to send me rolling between day and night. I like that, okay? I like that. I like your ending. I like the rolling. Okay, I like this image, Fortune. So I think, poets, sometimes we can get caught up like, well, everything's just circumstance. Everything's just chance out there. Genetic lottery, maybe, is what this poet's trying to talk about. Everything's just a flip of the coin. Whether my poem is good or bad, or whether people love me or hate me, or, whether I become a successful poet or a successful person, or find love or whatever. It's it's all like tarot card stuff. It's all magic stuff, kind of mumbo jumbo land. And poets and poems can end up being about these kind of Delphic topics of divination and chance and luck. But we can't just rest in there. We have to expand out of that initial impulse we might have as writers to talk about, shit, man, like poems and writing good poems just seems like a flip of the die. And like, I read so many poems out there by famous people, I don't really understand why these poems are great and or not. It all seems like happenstance, like just fortune. And I think that everybody feels that way, but we got to expand on that impulse, and make the poem truly centered and about something. If you're going to make it about fortune incarnate, we got to hone in on a particular mythology or background. Throwing the bifrons in there too, I think, the kind of occult angle, I think, is weak in this poem. If you're going to go for it, go for it, I guess. Write a fantasy poem, right? Write something for Dungeons and Dragons readers. It won't be a literary poem, but, maybe D&D Weekly will publish it. I don't know, guys. Take your shot, take your risk, go to commit yourself to it, but try to realize your theme. This poem is kind of flirting with it a little bit on the sidelines. It's not 100% all in. Put your stack of chips down on black there, buddy. Rhoda John. Show me some that you're really going for it here. This seems to be hedging its bets too much. I'm about to roll. Well, let's see you roll. Let's see you fail. All right, let's check out the OC. See what's going on in new. We'll just take a quick dip here. I also want to give people heads up. I am hoping to roll out a book, an elemental guide to poetry in the workshop. So we are going to be breaking down in great detail in this book how you can better incorporate the 5 elements of what makes a great poem of earth, fire, water, air, and void. And if you put these things together and you combine them skillfully, you can achieve anything in your own poetry. And I'm going to break that down. I'm also going to tell you how to get the most out of your workshop experience. So very excited to cover some of that more later. I'm also going to be giving that text away for free in PDF form because that's how I roll. So if you want to buy the book, you'll be able to do that. If you just want to follow along for free, you'll be able to do that as well. Because I'm trying to give back to you folks and help kind of get folks out of that initial apprenticeship stage as quickly as possible, so you can skip some of the boring steps I had to take, and you can start publishing your poems a little bit quicker. So let's look at Life, a collection of Senryu poems. So Senryu, probably again, I'm not the expert here, guys, but Senryu is part of this kind of broader reception of the classical Chinese modes in Japan, and they refined, they isolated, and Senryu is one of these similar to the haiku, I would think, and looks like it to me. Okay, we'll just look at one or two. Hit the snooze. Sunshine fills the room. Sad droopy eyes. Okay, sad droopy eyes. I can't. I'm sorry. So Posey Sestina, I love you. I really do. And these poems are going to hit someone, and someone's going to love them. I just can't do sad droopy eyes. I can't. I can't. Okay. Paleo artist. Intellectual purpose. Have I got into it with intellectual purpose? Sometimes I get into it with folks, and I don't know. That's too bad. Well, intellectual purpose is a little bit long for my intellectual purposes. So whether I've gotten into it with you in the past, no hard feelings. We're just that's a little bit long. Oh yeah. We know you. I know Kalavala, a young mom making her way and trying to figure out how to get her poetry out there and how to express herself better. And let's see where she goes with that. Ayano. This poem has no deeper meaning. That's a bold, bold opening right there. It has no political leaning, but it does rhyme. I've got no bones to pick, just a quick limerick. I wrote this because I'm quarantining. Okay, so it's a little bit throwaway, but okay, you might get some laughs out of the Reddit fan club here, Iona. But yeah, we'll just let that one rest a little bit. Yeah, you waited, Caesar the First. Julius, that would be the first, right? I know I messed up. I know you waited in the rain. I know it doesn't matter. I know this is insane. I know that's probably all I'm going to cover. Ooh, moose balls. Moosey, you got to send me a DM so I know you're hitting me up with some OCOG stuff, dude. You know I like me some Nigel tea. And I want to know what's going on in your life. So you got to share the love, Nigel. Don't be greedy. Don't be greedy, Nigel. All right. Midnight snacks. Got to share those midnight snacks. It doesn't matter if you sing to me or spit bees and rubber bands. If you say anything at all, I lap it off the floor and swallow it. All right. Well, you're already lapping it off the floor. I mean, okay. So, overstatement never hurt anybody. Words slip off your tongue and onto mine like honey dripping from a hive. And when you're bored, you starve me until bags of salt dropped in my mouth like old ropes thrown off a ship into the ocean taste like heaven. Old ropes thrown off a ship into the ocean would taste like heaven? To the ocean? To the ship? To the sharks? Some thoughts you planted in my head are drowned and drifting on the seabed like plasters in a swimming pool. Others dance between the ribs of hopeful whales like hagfish gorging till they choke and join the rest, flopping lifeless to swell like geese with broken necks. Okay, so that's like this kind of moose balls departure at the end. It's like, all right, this is my exit. Out of here, So this nautical imagery, we start with the bee imagery, and then we depart, develop more of this nautical imagery, and then we make a complete, bare left at the turn here, and go with these geese with broken necks. I guess we kind of depart at the hagfish and hopeful whales. So I think there's some good stuff going on though. So let's not throw the ropes out with the bathwater. Let's give Nigel some props here for keeping the reader off balanced, for using a rapid succession of exciting imagery with specifics. So like when you put something like hagfish in a poem, you're really showing as a poet you have this control of your linguistic selection. You're not just going to be vague and say, like minnows or something, which we've seen a lot of minnows in poems, or, I don't know. Hagfish is evocative and interesting. I mean, it says, suggests something about the speaker's tone or feelings about this relationship as well, that there's something bewitching going on, like a hag could cast hexes or something. I don't know. I obviously don't think this is a completely fully realized product, but I'm not sure that that's the most important thing for everybody to do all the time. We want to get better. We want to develop our range. We want to develop our ability to conjure. That's the point. We're like magicians. We're makers. We want to make new and exciting things. So Nigel might not be realizing every single part of what makes a successful poem in here, but the imagery is exciting, vibrant, varied. And the reader can never really completely get their poise and balance. And because of that, they're interested. If you have the reader's interest, that's an important thing, right? You can lead them. You can ultimately succeed. If you lose the reader's interest, you'll never succeed. So Nigel has created opportunities for himself to succeed. I think the departure is too much. They choke and join the rest, flopping lifeless, the swell like geese. So the geese are like hagfish or whales in the swimming pool, which are then like something else, like the relationship, like how he is licking up the bees off the floor. It's too we're obliques of obliques of obliques. It's reflections of reflections of reflections. We're too far off the original for me. Maybe for someone else would find this enjoyable of these kind of glimmers and then a glimmer of a glimmer. But I think that does risk almost kind of toying with the reader, playing with them, just having indifference to their comprehension, and that I think is perhaps a danger, right? Where we're just saying the reader's ability to follow and comprehend and put into a cohesive whole has no value to us. Now you could look at a poem like Yeats's Second Coming, turning and turning in the widening gyre, the falcon cannot hear the falconer. And then there's a succession of imagery in that Yeats's poem, which is totally and completely crazy. But it does realize a complete and comprehensive whole at the end. So despite the strange and dreamlike succession of imagery, it does cohere. Mere anarchy is loosed. The blood-dimmed tide is loosed, Nigel. Okay. I think that will cover us for this entry. Do stay tuned for updates from me on this book launch. I think we'll have a ton of fun together. And I hope to be able to do some workshops and facilitations over Zoom with folks all around the world in relation to this project. It'll be really fun to be able to get some people from the OC together and party together, read some of each other's poetry, and get into it. Perhaps put some faces, some names if you want to, or you could not disclose your Reddit name and still hang out. But I think it could be a ton of fun, folks. So let me know if that's on people's radar. I think it would be really cool to be able to party. So folks have kind of their audio visual gigs set up and they're ready to hook it up over Zoom and stuff like that. Do give me a shout out. Worst case, we can record a one-off and talk about someone's portfolio. So, if you have a bunch of poems you want to talk about with me and you just want to go back and forth, we could record it up and let the whole world in on some of the wonderful things you have cooking. So don't be a stranger. Let's come up with some new exciting ways to collaborate and have fun together. And right on, subscribe up. And until next time, folks.